Back with our second video on the channel since our break, obviously, that I took for about a month and a half. We're going to be going over Taylor Decker returning in this video. This is definitely a video I had to make. I know it's old news, but I had to make this video because this return of Taylor Decker has so much to do with the future and the now, in my opinion, of the Detroit Lions. And that's just where we'll go ahead and get into it. So, Ian Rapoport reported about a week and a half ago or so, I believe is what it was. Lions offensive tackle Taylor Decker announces that he'll be returning for the 2026 season after contemplating retirement. And this is what Taylor Decker announced it on Instagram, saying, Taylor Decker, whom shall I send? Quote, who shall I send? And who will go for us? And I said, here I am, send me, hashtag year 11. Taylor Decker is coming back for another year. This will most definitely be his last year with the Detroit Lions, but it is kind of cool to see. Obviously, you all know if you've been watching the channel for a while that I started watching the Lions really back in 2015, but really started getting into them in 2016. So this is really nice to see. Obviously, Taylor Decker, when I first really started watching the Lions in 2016, is when he came into the league. So he has been the only Lions player that has remained with the organization through that whole entire period. So I'll get to see him. He's the only Lions player still on the team since 2016 who's not departed. Obviously, you can say Graham Glasgow as well, joined the Lions in 2016, but obviously he went to Denver a couple years, so I'm not really counting him, and probably won't end up with the Lions next year. So, but anyway, that's just the background information I wanted to throw in there. Taylor Decker kind of means a lot to me because of that. But comes back anyway. But this just has a big part to do with the Lions' future, in my opinion, for multiple reasons. Because now the Lions, they're not forced to take a tackle in the first round of the draft. They're not forced to. But in my opinion, it leaves the door wide open for them when it comes to the offensive line in the draft and free agency. And the reason why I say this, the Lions reportedly have interest in Panthers center Cade Mays if he does hit the open market. The Lions reportedly have interest in signing him. Don't really know how I feel about that, and this is why I will explain why, and it makes a lot more sense now that Taylor Decker is returning. And I'll go over this a little bit more in detail when I go over my mock free agency within the next couple of days, but I do want to talk about it a little bit right now. And the reason why I'm iffy on signing Cade Mays is due to the fact that I think the Lions should go a different route. And that is, I think they need to take the risk, and they need to move Tate Ratledge to center. I think that is something they need to do. The reason why I say that is because this is a very talented guard free agency class, especially when it comes to the veterans on the market. You have 4 very good veteran guards on the market right now. Now, granted, the center free agent class is not bad either. There have been 2 names that have been added to the center free agent market, Lloyd Cushenberry and Tyler Biadasz, over the past couple of days. That's made now the center a lot more intriguing. But that's made the center position a lot more intriguing in free agency. But with the guards, it's such a talented class. You have 4 talented veterans on the market. This is not even including the younger guys like Ed Ingram, Tevin Jenkins on the market as well. But you have 4 veterans on the market who are very talented. Really, the 3 that I'm looking at is Wyatt Teller, bringing back Kevin Zeitler possibly, and Joe Bitonio. Other one was Isaac Seumalo, but not really looking at him as much. Looking at the other 3, Wyatt Teller, Joe Bitonio, and Kevin Zeitler, more than Isaac Seumalo. But like I said, you also got some guys out there like Ed Ingram, long-term, Ed Ingram, and Tevin Jenkins as well. But I think they need to take the risk and move Tate Ratledge to center, because if you go get one of those veteran guards in free agency, we'll just say Wyatt Teller in this scenario. Okay, Wyatt Teller's a right guard, been in the league a long time, better pass protector than he is run blocker. And there you go. You've already replaced the center position with Tate Ratledge. I think it would work out fine, obviously. That's why I would do that. And you're bringing in Wyatt Teller, who's a much better pass protector at this current state than probably anybody on our roster besides Penei Sewell. So you're adding a very needed position to the team and a very improved, what do you want to call it? The very improved passing spot, passing offensive line. I don't know what I'm talking. You know what I'm trying to say? Hopefully you know what I'm trying to say. Can't really word it properly right now. I just returned, all right, from a month and a half break. I gotta give me some slack right there. But What I'm saying is if you do that, you have the left guard in this scenario wide open, and that could be used in the first round. And a player that I'm really, really looking at, I mean, you can do this for multiple tackles, but a player that makes a lot of sense to me is Monroe Freeling. Had the second highest, and this, I don't even really like combine like that, to be honest with you. I don't really think combine means a whole lot when it comes to players' draft stock. I mean, it does with some positions with the 40-yard dash and stuff like that, and bench press, see how strong. But I don't really think the combine means everything. I think only to certain positions, and offensive line is a big one. But I think just like the pro days and their film means a lot more than the actual combine. But I just didn't want to throw that out there. Monroe Freeling had the second highest combine RAS score of offensive tackles of I think it was 1,400 something since 1987. He's the second highest all time. And I loved Monroe Freeling's film since that I've watched. Monroe Freeling, before the combine, was my third highest graded offensive tackle in this draft, and he has jumped up for me as my number 2 offensive tackle in the draft, but my number 1 offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions. Oli Vega-Ioane was my number 1 offensive lineman I wanted for the Detroit Lions, but now it is Monroe Freeling. And it has a big part to do with Monroe Freeling, and this is the overall point that I've been wanting to get to, is that Monroe Freeling, you could draft him year 1. He can play guard. He is so athletic. He can play guard year 1, and he has the size to do it. You can move Monroe Freeling to guard. Be an above average guard for you at left guard year 1. He's left tackle, so that's why I go Wyatt Teller in this scenario, because he plays on the right side. Won't have to worry about transitioning Monroe Freeling to the right side year 1. But Monroe Freeling could play left guard, be an above average left guard, hopefully, and he can learn under Taylor Decker. All right. And then once you move off of Taylor Decker next year, obviously Taylor Decker's under contract for 2 more years, but you're definitely going to move off of him next year. I would assume so. And then you have the ability to move Monroe Freeling back to tackle and hopefully be your franchise tackle opposite Penei Sewell. And this is really just any tackle in general in this class that has the flexibility to play guard, specifically left guard in this scenario. And then you have a guy like Christian Mahogany who can come in and replace Monroe Freeling at left guard. So it's just, obviously you're still going to have to replace right guard, but I'm saying Taylor Decker returning, and with how flexible these tackles are in this draft, you got Francis Malianoa, you got Caden Proctor, you got Monroe Freeling, and I think even you could say Spencer Fano as well. And these are just all first-round guys who have the flexibility to play guard. So again, I just wanted Monroe Freeling because I love Monroe Freeling as a prospect. But you have the ability to do this with really any first-round tackle besides maybe Caleb Lomu, to be completely honest with you. So he is just a guy that I really, really think the Detroit Lions need to take a look at. But also, with Taylor Decker coming back, you don't have to take a tackle in the first round. You're not forced to. You could go with a guy like Oli Vega-Ioane, or you don't even have to take a guard in the first round or a tackle in the first round. So it just leaves the door open so much. I was more on the side of I just thought we should move off of Taylor Decker originally about a month and a half ago. But now that I've really, really thought about it and watched more film of this draft class, when it comes to the tackles, more and more decided that Taylor Decker returning, I think, can lead to the best scenario for the Detroit Lions offensive line in 2026 and long-term as well. So, again, I'll go over it a little bit more in detail on my mock free agency in the next couple of days. But I've Taylor Decker returning. Love that he's returning. Obviously, the injuries have to play a big part in it. I think he's probably going to have the worst year of his career next year, obviously, just because of the age and the injuries. But I still think he should be at least an average offensive tackle. And, again, if you can handle the rest of your offensive line well by moving a guy like Tate Roush to center and then addressing the 2 guard positions in a big way, I think this move could look a lot better in the near future. So we'll see what happens. But one pride, go Lions with the Lions offensive line. We'll see what happens. But one pride, go Lions. Taylor Decker returns. Love to see it. And this changes the rest of the Lions offensive line in the free agency outlook, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens.